What's that sound? It's aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens?
Hello, weirdos out there in Weirdo Land. Yes, the band is back together. The question is, who is the Ringo Starr of our group? Just kidding. Totally kidding. How are you all doing?
Doing well.
Very well. A lot's happened since the last time we've spoke. Quick, 10 seconds apiece. Give us an update on your life, personal, but you only get 10 seconds. We have a lot to cover today. All right, let's start with Denny's.
So, I've been doing pretty good. I've been trying to get some sun, but I still leave my shirt on. I don't know if it actually does anything. In fact, I have like the worst lines ever. But I do want to try to get some more sun on my
And
eyes.
you're done. Okay, Beckett, what's been going on with you?
Just trying to wrap up grad school research, trying to find a wife, have kids.
Oh, jeez.
And just getting the band back together for Weird and Whatever.
And you're done. Vicky, 10 seconds and go.
Moved into a new house. Everything's golden. Starting a new school year, and it's great to be back here.
5 seconds. That's a pro right there. That's a pro. I love it. Well, guys, it's very great to have you all back here. We have our producer Ariel in the building. Woo! We have our audience back there. Woo! All right. So, did y'all hear that there was another Bigfoot sighting?
Did not.
A legit Bigfoot sighting. A camper claims that they saw this guy shoot out at a Bigfoot. Denny's gonna go ahead and play the clip. Now, what you're about to hear is the two campers that saw this guy shoot at a Bigfoot.
I think the internet's just going to slow.
We have a bad internet. That's not good. Denny, stretch.
All right, let's see.
So basically, here's what's going on with this clip. There's a guy. He goes out there. He starts shooting. He thinks he sees a Bigfoot, and it's in the middle of a campsite. No one knows what the hell's going on. Beckett, was there an actual Bigfoot there?
I mean, I guess I can believe that they saw something. I mean,
I'm not going to lie. This bit completely falls flat if there's no fucking clip.
Well, I'm just waiting for you guys to finish up.
All right, let's move on.
Well, no, I have. I'm just
okay. All right,
I'm just waiting for you guys to stop there. Oh. It will not play, man.
All right. Denny's random facts. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I can't. Here, I'm just going to download these clips because for some reason your internet is just not letting me.
Yeah.
Let me play it.
Let's go ahead and go into Denny's random facts. What do you got for us?
All right, let's see here. So I found this study. I want to see what you guys think about this. They actually say that passive internet use, like scrolling through Facebook posts but not posting or commenting, is more detrimental to you than actually posting and commenting. In a weird study, it's a psychology where subconsciously a person who watches and observes without commenting will develop a minute amount of envy over time, and it negatively affects your health mentally. Opposed to people who actually just put out stuff on the internet, put anything like stuff, leave comments, they subconsciously get the opposite. They get a feeling of achievement and success. So it's kind of weird. So if you actually just passively scroll through Facebook without commenting, you're damaging, I guess, in this study, your mental health. What do you guys think of that?
No, it makes sense. I heard a motivational speaker say, when you live life, what side of the glass do you want to be on? And that was like a TV reference. Do you want to watch everyone else live their life? Whether it's in politics or sports or whatever, or do you want to passively observe? So someone that is intentionally putting out content and not passively scrolling, the psychology of it totally makes sense to me.
Vicky, what are your thoughts on
It's
this?
voyeurism, so I could see where that could be detrimental because voyeurs tend to just watch life and watch things happening instead of being involved.
Is anybody here a voyeur? Who likes to watch? And don't get all perverted,
On
Becky.
Facebook?
Don't get all perverted. It can be, though. It can be perverted. It can be on Facebook. Who likes to watch and be a witness of things and just gather information?
I think the question is, how much do you like to watch? Because I think everyone likes to watch to a certain degree. It's like, how much difficulty do you have paying attention? Well, some people need to take medication from it. Some people just get distracted every once in a while. I think everyone likes to watch, whether it's perverted or not. It's just how much, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like what you like to watch. I feel like different content gets different connotations.
Okay, let me ask you this: you're walking your animal, your beast, your loved one, and you see
All 30 pounds of her.
you see as you're walking, there is a window open and there's a couple going to town. Do you stop and watch, or do you feel like you're a pervert if you do? Vicky, thoughts?
I don't watch. I glance, see what's going on, and I keep going.
Okay,
Now, if they were in there, ironically, if they were in there like watching TV or something like that, I would be more likely to watch longer than if they were in the act of something.
Damn, Vicky is creepy. Okay, Beckett, you're watching you're walking your perfect beast. Do you stop and watch?
No, I wouldn't watch it, but I'd watch a video of it.
Is Beckett's mic okay? Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right.
So long as my laugh's turned
Just
down.
do not laugh so hard. Denny's, do you watch?
No, I try to go. I mean, I'll out of curiosity be like, oh man, are they having sex, or like whatever they're doing. But then I move on.
It's the hottest couple you've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I can't just.
And they're locking eyes with you.
I get a sandwich out and just watch them.
Okay, how about this? Different scenario, but kind of the same thing. You live in a beautiful, tall-story building in Manhattan, and then across the way, there is this person doing this sexy dance, almost like a routine, but facing out to you, kind of like they're doing it for you.
Girl or guy?
It's whatever you're into. That's the scenario is
So girl.
whatever tickles your fancy. That's where you're at.
Okay.
Vicky, do you watch?
Yes.
You're in your own house.
Yeah, I'm in my own house. I'm in a comfortable seat.
I agree. If someone's doing a dance and you can see it from your couch, you should be able to watch that and not be penalized as a pervert.
That was one of my favorite Seinfeld episodes where they had the bet on Master of Your Domain, and they had a bet who could hold off masturbating the longest.
Oh yeah.
And there was a
Like,
girl.
I'm out.
There was a girl changing across the building, and Kramer comes in first day. He goes, "I'm out."
So here's a very good point in the chat room. Meredith D says, "I'd watch if you're doing it in public. It is fair game."
But that was in their house. This
Agreed. You're right, but you are facing the public. So, for example, if I am having sex in my balcony up here, and everybody can see it walking their dog, and it's so in their face, am I kind of
You're
egging
asking.
it on,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you're
So
asking for people to
If
watch
you're
it.
outside your threshold, it's public domain. But if it didn't seem like it was intentional for you to be out in public, it feels a little creepy to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, but the same means is if you have blinds on your window, then you are expecting somebody to watch you.
I'm kind of with Vicky. I kind of feel like we're in a society right now where people do stupid shit, then it comes down on them, and they are responsible of their own stupid shit, but they don't take responsibility of it. If you're having sex in front of everybody with your windows open and you're facing the balcony, yeah, don't be shocked when people are watching you.
Well, I dated a girl that was actually into that. I don't know how that goes into.
course.
I don't know. I don't know how that goes into psychology, but like that was like a thing. Like
That was her kink.
in public and fear of getting caught.
But she liked the fear.
Exhibition.
Well,
Yeah, by the way, I was just reading something. That is a very common kink for people, or a fetish where they want to have sex out in public, but they don't really want to be caught. But
it's the chance.
If there's someone that is watching,
Yeah.
Denny's, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of that either.
I can see how people would be attracted to that. Maybe you get caught once and you mix the sexual excitement with the.
Well, do you think people that are into that, they just can't get into regular normal sex? They need something else. It's almost like there's something in their brain that needs that extra.
I think you can eat a burger, but sometimes you want a little ketchup and a pickle on it. I don't know. Like you still enjoy the burger.
That is an analogy for for the books right there.
It doesn't sound like the first time he's used it.
It's definitely the first time. Vicky, what are your thoughts? Someone that's engaging in activities like that. So Denny's would never engage in public sex because that's something he just could not do. The people that do something like that, why?
Well, I think everybody, if they would admit it, has some kind of fetish when it comes to sex.
100%.
And it's just that those people, maybe they want to display it a little more than other people.
Calm down, Becky.
So they just want to display it a little bit more. I mean, it's no worse of a fetish than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And I agree with Vicky on the end that I think if everyone was honest with themselves, we all got something that turns us on, whether it's, hey, grow your mustache out longer, or tug on my hair, or
It'd be boring if that
Bark.
wasn't the case. Can you imagine just dating someone and they were just so like, what do you like? Like,
There's a
oh,
lot-
nothing.
there's a lot of people like, I feel like there are people married listening to this podcast right now that are struggling with a boring sex life.
Ugh.
They don't talk about it for some reason. They don't communicate about it for some
Beck is
reason.
disgusted by that statement.
But I guarantee you, in their brain, they have a lot of stuff going on. They're just
Totally.
scared to say it.
Yeah.
But why? Why
I
are
would
they
love to see what their Pornhub history is, though. The people that have no like good vanilla marriage type sex.
Ariel, can you do me a favor? Can you please throw a cold bucket of water on Beckett? He's getting a little
That'll be a new
little
bit.
steamy over here.
It's weird what fetishes get like demonized though, or at least get more. They're more taboo than others.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up fetishes and taboo. On the rise
Pun intended.
for scenarios in porn, the things that are what people are into, the most popular sites are Taboo, family role playing. Now, when you dig into the research on that, people that admit to that fantasy, they're not thinking about their own brother and sister or their own aunt. It's not about that. It's more on the end of just the taboo of the scenario,
Right.
watching that. It's not that they want to bang their brother or sister, but that kind of fetish is seriously on the rise right now. Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I if I'm being candid and open, like there was a scenario where I was in a relationship, a long-term living with the girl, and it wasn't passionate, and that was the reason I broke up with the girl that I was dating.
Now, when you say passionate, are you talking conversation, matters of the heart, or in the bedroom?
I'm okay with and understand relationships are up and down. What I just don't want to have is just a flatlined scenario where I felt like I was a roommate in a relationship. I think life's too short. It might only happen once for a soul. I don't know. So I just feel like life's too important, too special to go through life flatlined. So I'm okay with up and down. I just don't want flatline. So there was just no passion in whether it be from a sexual context, from a cuddling to fighting to anything. It was just very, very vanilla.
So why do you think then? So do you think relationships that are so vanilla forces people to get into a taboo? We obviously, for the most part, I would say majority of people like sex, like to be touched. For the most part, I know that there's a spectrum of people that don't like that. But do you think when it gets so normal for some people who have maybe even an addictive brain, they need something a little bit extra too? Because I was not dating a girl, but we started to talk to. And the first thing she told me, she's like, oh my gosh, I do not like vanilla sex. I can't do it. It just, so something in her past, is it something in her past that makes her not want regular sex? And then again, what is regular sex?
Right.
Again, that's a social probably term,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
Vicky?
Right, absolutely. I mean, that's what society has deemed as normal or mainstream or whatever.
What is normal?
I think all of us have that need to do something bad at some point. And the easiest, to me, one of the easiest places to do that is in regards to sex.
Agreed.
Because
Yeah.
it's hard for you to go to work and do something bad and still keep your job.
Yeah.
Good
But
point.
in the bedroom, you can exercise all those little mental demons that are, trying to get you to not be the norm.
Yes.
And you can do that in the bedroom. To me, that's like the easiest place to do it.
Yeah.
And that makes sense of why some people would have a little bit of a fetish.
Right. But it makes you, the reason why you don't often tell your partner or whoever what it is that turns you on, because that it also puts you at your most vulnerable.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Great point.
When you reveal what your real thoughts are, especially in that arena, that you're just totally open.
And
Then.
I agree, but I think that's what makes it so special, because
Well-
if you're just wide open with everyone, like then it feels less special. But if you connect with someone and you're like, hey, I've been dating you for 6 months, like we're really connecting, now I can like tell you my kinks and like we can get into it. Like that's what makes it that much hotter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever overshared with somebody where you felt like you were honest? And
Only
then-
on a podcast.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I think I'm more honest and vulnerable here on the podcast.
than in a relationship.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's 110% for sure. But have you ever had that feeling where you really opened up to somebody? I mean, you slice your wrist and you just bleed your emotion, only to find you're a weirdo. That's not a great feeling.
Well, I've learned to do the old shot across the bow. You know what I mean? Where you just kind of do a feel out, and then if it gets reciprocated, you're like, all right, this girl's into that, you know. But if she doesn't, you're like, all right, you're not gonna go down that path.
It's not always sex stuff. It's even your own personal quirks and moods that you are embarrassed to talk about. For me, a long time, and I've brought it up before, a long time, it was very hard for me to talk about my own panic disorder and anxiety because I can't go on the second story of the Gardens Mall, for example, without it being a big fucking to-do. And that's not always putting me in my most confident light. So if you're dating somebody that you want to impress, that's going to be an insecurity. And I think you get to a point where you get old enough or you just don't give a shit anymore.
That's what I was gonna say.
You just
As you get older, you don't.
you've been to the puppet show, you've seen the strings, as I've said many a times, and you know life is short. So you want to be, you actually want, you grow into wanting to be an honest person.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're younger, you lie because you are insecure and scared to be who you really are. And by the way, we're all fucking weird.
Totally. It's interesting, the curve, right? Because they say that in early life and end of life, there's very similar experiences in terms of care and everything like that and personality. Early life, before your ego comes in, you know, you're a kid, you burp, you take your shirt off at the pool, you run around.
You don't care.
You don't care. You don't care. And then at a certain point, you get interested in the opposite sex. You start getting insecurities and all these things start piling on. And then I think as you get older in life, as you're alluding to, then you kind of start shedding that and you go back. Like old people are kind of like little kids. They'll just say whatever the hell they want, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Aunt Anne, in her later years, said whatever the fuck she wanted. And it got uncomfortable. Dennis, what's your thoughts on all this? And then we'll get back to your random facts.
Thoughts on?
We kind of had to go into your random facts only because we had audio issues
Yeah.
for the people listening at home.
Yeah. So I mean, I was weighing in on some of that.
Yeah, I want to kind of end the conversation with your final thought.
All right, talking kinks and all that.
I feel like you don't have any kinks.
Yeah, they're very, very minimal. Yeah, not really.
But why? Do you think that's from your own childhood?
Yeah, I could probably imagine that. I'm not like 100% vanilla, but I'm pretty like I shoot pretty straight, more or less. I maybe just because, I mean, as a kid, I was more fast. I mean, dude, once you hit high school, once I found drugs and puss, like, it was over. But before that, I was very, very well-read. I was very into video games.
You were very learned before.
Are you
Yes.
telling me that chicks and drugs?
Oh,
brought
those
you
are
to-
what brought me down. So I was pretty astute in my earlier years. And it wasn't until probably middle school to high school, I started really taking a decline as far
It's
as
an true Hollywood story.
I started questioning, authoritative figures. That's when it all started.
As you elegantly put it, puss in quotes, I think you have a very good point. Now, for you, it would be the female because you're attracted to the female. For me, it would be female. But it's for anybody, whoever you're attracted to. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is going to get you off of your game. Love and lust is going to always get you off of your game.
When you're
always.
When you're a kid, you're taught, go to school, get a job, get a house, get a wife. You're told all these things, and you kind of follow them by the books for the most part. And then as you get older, you start like, well, wait a minute, why are we doing all this? You start getting a little more philosophical.
Age 12, you start questioning shit.
Philosophical.
You're like, my
Thank you.
parents are
Sorry,
bullshit.
we were drinking last night, but. So, yeah, I mean, you start getting all that, but then once you hit puberty and your body starts changing, there's a whole new thing that nobody ever taught you about. I'm sure you get sex ed in school for, a semester, but, like, for the most part, that's a whole new thing introduced to your life that you have to live with for the rest of your life now that you've had no prior experience with. This new emotion that kind of takes over, like, the emotion of, like, eating or sleeping. It's now something that your body has to do.
I mean, you are 110% right on that. No one prepares.
And nobody prepares you for
Well,
that. It's so taboo to talk sex at a young age,
Well,
which
they
I
dance
totally
around.
get. Yeah, they dance around.
Oh,
you
you're
don't
gonna
really
have,
get it.
You're going to have urges. Oh, I'm going to have urges? You didn't tell me I was going to turn into a fucking werewolf.
Right.
So when you first get into it, I mean, you jump into the deep end. You're trying. you're just doing everything. And then as you get older and you start filtering out what you like and don't like, and then I think some of them stick and some don't.
Is it okay? So Vicky, I want to ask you this because I have talked to family members who are on the female end, and they have come to me and said, "Oh yeah, 13, 14, I got the stirrings." But I was more reserved because society teaches you back, especially back then, kind of be more reserved. Is it the same for girls? 13, 14, 15, all of these hormones, especially sexual stuff. Do you remember that kind of?
I remember. I mean, I had crushes on boys going back to like I can tell you who I liked in first grade on
Agreed.
up.
Yeah.
You know, but as far as those, I mean, I think I was like in high school,
So 13,
think.
14, 15?
like more like 15-ish.
So where you started getting the hormone feelings.
Right.
Okay, but
But then I controlled it because of society, because I didn't want to be labeled a certain way. So I didn't have my wild time until I was in my early 30s.
Yeah.
So
30,
I kinda,
30.
Yeah, I kind
30,
of went
30.
backwards. So
The 30s are the best.
The most grounded time of my life was between 30 and 34. And then you get to your mid 30s, like, okay, yeah, fucking knees are hurting. Teeth are hurting for no reason.
It's short-lived.
Yeah, no. If you are listening and you're not 35 yet, oh yeah.
Just
Whole
wait.
heap load of problems coming. I'm kidding, sort of.
But I think with younger girls, I think a lot of it's not so much their own urges. I think it's their need to please a guy and to get a boyfriend. I think is a reason why they act on a lot of it.
But do you also think that all also comes back to your upbringing? Okay, for example, I was basically raised by women. So I had my dad there who did have a masculine role for sure, but it was a very feminine type of house. And I can honestly say I'm more on that end of just,
Right.
We were always talking about feelings and there was a lot of emotion. Not to say my dad didn't do that stuff too, but it was definitely dominated more on the female side. Do you think that was a natural thing that my family was doing on the female end, or was that society dictating how they should be behaving?
I have a feeling that your family was just natural. I mean, whatever came out, came out.
I agree with
They
you.
weren't trying to conform to anything.
Okay, so
But it definitely shaped, I think it shaped your personality and your interaction with women.
I would agree with that. So you do think on a natural side, people just tend to go with the way they're born? If for example, you're 15-year-old woman, do you have those natural feelings just being born that way?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that people, and I've said this before, you know, the nature versus nurture, I think you are who you are, regardless of your environment and regardless of anything else. I personally think your zodiac sign has a lot more to do with your personality and your interests than anything else does.
Go further on that, please.
I have just found through years of studying and reading up about the different signs, I have seen so many examples of people who clearly their personality is exactly what you look like textbook, you know, for a Gemini or a Leo or something like that. And I just think that we are who we are. I'll use my family as an example. My siblings, we all had the exact same environment. Obviously, we all had the exact same biological makeup. We are three completely different people. We all have different zodiac signs. And if anybody were to come in contact with us, they would not even know that we're related because we are who we are supposed to be.
With that said, with my example, and I agree with you to a certain extent, I think we are who we are, but I do think environment does play a major factor.
It can.
So
yeah.
let's flip my scenario to where I am born into a family where there's 8 guys and 1 woman, and it's more of a dude kind of a party. Do I change as a person with that upbringing?
Depending on how, like, to me, I would have to look at your zodiac sign and your rising sign in order to know how much you would have been influenced by an opposite environment.
Denny's thoughts on that? Born into the basically
Nature, yeah. I think it's a combination of a lot of factors. I think I'm with Vicky. I think a lot of people are born the way they're going to be born. You have your genetic build for a reason.
That I totally agree with.
So then I think just life events, things that happen to you in your life, fixation, stuff in that such really shapes like through your, you know, your developmental years. And then I think sexual experiences develop you through your sexual development
I think
years.
experiences general, not even sexual. I think just
Well, so I think initially it's your adolescent experiences that'll bring you to stuff, you know, to how it's kind of shape how, you know, if you come across, you know, a person that's bullying you, you're going to have a different outcome than somebody else that's getting bullied. Everybody's going to come out of that experience different. Now, the people that bullying, they might come out of that differently, realizing that what they're doing is wrong. There's a bunch of different directions that any of those situations in life can go through. Basically, the moral choices that we have. And then you hit your puberty phase, and then now you're getting mixed signals. You're confusing. I guess not, confusing is a bad word. You're interpreting personal life choices mixed in now with sexual choices. So now, I mean, you got a lot on the plate, and I think that's how like kinks would be developed.
Well, the whole
through fixations.
Yeah, the whole sexual, like we're talking about, that drive for, I would say, majority of people. Because, I mean, I've got emails from people who have said they're asexual. They never, ever experienced any kind of anything. And I think that's a DNA thing, right? Is it? I don't know. I'm asking the question.
So if they're born less sensitive down there, and then they haven't had a good sexual experience ever since, then they're probably less inclined to enjoy that. Now, say that exact same scenario, the person does have a good sexual experience, even though they are lower on the spectrum, I guess, of libido, then maybe that turns them to maybe they develop a fixation on something that makes them feel good.
Beckett, you're awfully quiet.
I'm just thinking how deep we want to get into this. I mean, women can, they can have an orgasm a couple different ways, right?
Whoa. Language, Beckett. Very uncomfortable.
And some are more internal, some are more external down there.
Thanks for mansplaining orgasm.
Some just like having sex and have a tough time actually having an orgasm at all. And some, like I tend to be a little bit more of a sapiosexual. It's more like the intellectual, like the mental part of it. And I just...
Is that a term?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sapiosexual.
I gotta make sure.
It's one of
He's stimulated by the experience.
the experience. Like that's why like I've caught myself liking sexting a little bit, because it's like the build up.
Yeah.
It's like the hey, like tonight X, Y, and Z. I'm at work and blah blah blah, and like that build up, because I like passion.
Yeah.
I was also raised in more of a female nurturing type environment. So you can talk to any girls I've dated seriously, and they'd be like, Ryan was the girl in the relationship. I want to talk about feelings. Like anytime I've tried to be a player, I'm like, damn, I got feelings, But I think like that passion connection, I connect more like I think a lot of you would think a female would connect. It's more about feelings, emotion, passion, whatever. Where I think some men, they just want to have sex, right? And it's more, they're just like a pleasure monkey, more on the physical side and less on the mental side.
I love how Beckett talks. It's all about feelings. Meanwhile, she has to be at least a 10.
No.
But it's all about that foreplay. We all know that.
I 100% rather be with a less attractive girl that checked all the boxes and mentally stimulating me than the 12 that is a box of rocks all day.
Well, no, but I mean, if you are looking for a partner to settle down with, to kind of go the distance with, you definitely want somebody you can hang with.
Yeah.
Looks are so fleeting. I know it's so cliche to say, but they are. Yeah. You can be with the hottest person in the world. If you do not get along with them, it is not going to work. Yeah. And you or her are going to take each other's money. If you get married,
it's not sustainable. It becomes a sugar high. It's just,
yeah. Well, that's what everyone wants, though. We are in a society of sugar high. Everything needs to be quick. Everything's about feeling good right away. And if it doesn't, we have to go on to the next thing. Patience is a dying art in our society right now. It really is. And by the way, patience is the hardest thing for a human to grasp. We all can talk about it. It's the hardest thing to actually apply.
Meditation is one of the hardest things. We've talked about this on the podcast. Meditation is one of the hardest things I've ever done. I've done some crazy stuff.
You have to be so diligent with your meditation to the point where it's got to be twice a day. I mean, not in the beginning because it's overwhelming, but once you get into the zone, it's like working out. You have to commit. If you're not going to commit to meditation, fuck off.
Yeah, you just can't do it.
Sure.
It's not gonna work.
You got to practice it.
Yep.
As with everything.
So let's go ahead and reset Denny's random facts and go ahead and start from you gave the first one?
Yeah, so all of that will seg into my next fact for you
Love
guys.
it.
A recent study, and let me know what you guys think of this.
By the way, to let sorry, started there. any new members listening to the podcast, Vicky, our teacher, our educator, will be grading Denny's on the actual fact. Vicky,
well,
give
the
it to Mark.
first one I got to give an A. What did we do? 30 minutes of conversation
Yeah.
on the first one.
That's why it's our number one feature.
Passive internet
In
use.
fact, we got some studies back to say Denny's random fact is our number one feature.
No, awesome.
I'm lying.
And so the audio issue, I think my computer broke. So I transferred everything to my phone. So I'm gonna plug it in, and then we'll just move on from.
So
we got-
are we good for audio?
We should be good
Okay.
after I
No,
switch
but
it over.
for no video, just audio.
Oh, video, we're cool. That's
All right.
on a different unit.
Beautiful. Love
Beautiful.
it.
So, all right, let me know what you guys think of this. And it's kind of talking about, developing, opening up to a person, getting into a relationship. A recent study in Kansas, University of Kansas, found out that it takes 50 hours of socializing to go from an acquaintance to a casual friend, an additional 40 hours to become a real friend, and a total of 200 plus hours to become a close friend.
Okay,
That's how much time you have to put in with a person in order to psychologically fall into one of those categories.
Vicky, what's your grade on that?
A B.
I disagree. That's an A plus. I think that's such a fascinating study.
The reason why I'm giving it a B is because how many studies are going to back that up, and who was used in the study and stuff like that. So I got to just drop the grade just a little bit
Well,
on the validity side of it.
I agree with that, but I will say, though, that is so interesting to think about. When does that threshold, where's the threshold of where somebody becomes a good friend, where you can
But then,
legit say, oh, yeah, I have their back?
but then there are people where you meet them right away, and you know that this is your ride or die.
I think it's
And it
quality.
doesn't take those 200 hours or plus.
Yeah.
You just know when you
It's
meet that
quality
person.
over quantity.
See, I think 200 hours is
That's
way little. I don't trust these motherfuckers. What? How do I know they're not going to try to plant cocaine on me?
Yeah, you're right. But like you said, you do start off with that initial feeling. Some people you just, you gel with immediately.
Kind of
And-
like us at Swampgrass Willie's.
For sure, but think about how much time we've spent together. Like we know, I think 200 plus hours was where they benchmarked to where like inside jokes would develop and things in that such. To where like now you're picking up the idiosyncrasies of your friends.
200 hours. How many days is that, Vicky? You're the educator,
I
and
do
go.
math. I'm the reading
24
teacher.
Real quick.
into 200, roughly.
If a stranger was holding you off the overpass of 95 and someone offered him $10 billion to let go of you, and he's like, nah, man, this guy's a stranger, but I'm not going to let go. I'm not going to take the $10 billion, and saves your life. You may not be besties like you and Denny's, but you're like, that guy is fucking cool, and you'll have a different affinity to him in a very short period of
but
time.
you are literally taking.
But that
the-
guy could rob you
Yeah,
the next day.
Denny's is right. So Ted Bundy, we talk about Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was a horrific serial killer, as we
Right.
all know. He also, in his earlier life, saved a woman from drowning. Or saved somebody from drowning. Guy or girl, but he did. He actually saved somebody, and he struggled with the fact that at one point in his life he was an angel, and at the other part of his life he was a devil. And then I think for him, the way I understood it was he didn't understand life at that point. He's just like, okay, I could be an angel, I could be a devil. Fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Weird.
Yeah.
You can be like Denny's is saying. You could be the devil. You could also be the angel.
Yeah. It's just weird that you got some mental illness if you want to take someone else's life.
Is
It's like-
Ted Bundy considered mental illness, Vicky?
I would think that he was mentally ill, but I mean, didn't they do some kind of study with his brain? Or
Yeah,
something?
they said it was weird.
Yeah, they said the chemical makeup was different, or somehow.
Is that an excuse, or you buy this?
All of us have some kind of chemical imbalance, yet we choose to control it. That's one time where it's good that society jumps in and says, it's wrong to murder. So if he had those thoughts in his head, he should have gone to someone to get some help.
We choose to control it, or we choose to hide it.
Yes, true enough.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the difference. If you actually act on it, or you just get it, do it. So what would that one? I got like a what on that?
I
one?
give you
B
an
or
A,
B.
only because I gave you an A plus. I'm very fascinated on when you can trust somebody. Loyalty and trust is a big thing for me. It definitely a flaw in my character. I mean, I have a unique situation. I'm in the public eye. I've had people fuck me over. I've had people lie to me. I've had people really screw me over to the point where it does take me a while to you can only get burned so many times to where you are not going to react in that way.
Which goes into your environment theory.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you had that story with Billy Joel. Didn't his brother-in-law steal? So what was the trust in that? He knew that guy for how long?
Yeah, Billy Joel, his brother-in-law stole millions of dollars from him, and he had no idea this was going on. He really trusted and loved that guy. That'd be like one of y'all really I mean, we've definitely spent over 200 hours together for sure.
Yeah.
So you guys are definitely close friends of mine, and people I trust. I wouldn't spend time with you this intimately if I didn't trust y'all. That'd be like one of y'all fucking me over to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, that's devastating.
I like every podcast. I took one action figure.
For
Yes, except for the last year.
Yeah.
And then a year later, I go, where's all my Greedos? Where's my Hammerheads? Where's my G.I. Joes? It would be, and that's not millions of dollars, but it is a trust thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
totally.
I can't trust Beckett.
Yeah.
But your loyalty it shows so much about your character. I mean, you may end up at some point getting hurt because of your loyalty, but just the fact that you have it, and you are like all this time that I've been moving and canceling and not being able to do the podcast, there are other people out there that would have been like, hey, we need to be on the air. Let's replace Vicky. You didn't because of your loyalty. So that says so much about your character. However, that loyalty down the road, as Beckett's stealing your little
G.I.
figures every
Joes,
week.
you son of a bitch.
So it's a good thing for you as far as your character, but could also cause harm.
It's
one
the
day.
yin and the yang. I mean, everything's about balance, and you're right. I mean, you can have a good nature or you can have a bad nature, and sometimes your bad nature can work out for you. I know somebody that stole a lot of money and got away with it. They never got caught. Paid for a house.
Yeah.
They forgave. They felt terrible, but they did get away with it. Their bad nature helped them.
Some people are loyal in different contexts. Like Bonnie and Clyde were loyal to each other, but really big dicks. You know,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had some buddies that would stop a bullet for me, but in a relationship, they're scumbags. You know what I mean? Like with the girl they're dating. So like you can also have a loyal person.
Yeah.
But it depends on also
What they're loyal
what's
to.
the context.
So someone did the math in the chat room. Thank you to Lauren. Okay, 200 hours would be 8.3 days. So you spend 8.3 days completely with a person, a little over a week, 24 hours a day. Could you really say that person's a close friend? You could have a unique experience to where, yeah, you will be lifelong friends.
Yeah.
I can see that.
and that's
for
probably
sure.
broken up realistically, maybe 3 to 4 hours a day you have interacting with the
Agreed.
person over the course of like 4 months. or whatever.
Yeah, when you break it down that way, that much time with a person, for sure, you could have a bond.
But I think things get heightened. Like if we went on a trip together or we did
Yeah,
Did ayahuasca
and added
together.
ayahuasca
experiments,
together, if we
experience.
climbed a mountain together,
Yeah,
if we went
yeah.
through a car accident together, like different things will
Agreed, good point.
Will bring people together and intensify the situation.
You're right.
If me and you are just at the packaging plant and we don't really talk, but we spend that much time together and it's very surface, we're not going to be great friends.
Right. Totally.
Very
I mean,
good
I think
point.
that's actually the psychology behind military training and the reason why they have a drill sergeant, which is an outside threat to the group.
So they
in
band
training.
together.
Exactly. 100%. Yep.
All right, Dennis,
Very
give us
clever.
2 more of your best facts.
So this would be a classic case of just misinformation, but people used to make their clothes and tablecloths out of asbestos.
Whoa.
It was actually a common thing because the garment can't be burned. In order to clean it, they would toss it into a furnace. So all people made their clothes out of asbestos. That way, when it was dirty, they'd throw it into their fire because they couldn't go down to the river all the time and clean their clothing, and it would burn off all the stains and such. In fact, Charlemagne, the emperor, used to make his tablecloth, and as part of his like parlor trick to impress his guest, he wouldn't have any plates on the table, and everybody would be like, well, we're here for dinner. He goes, eat off the table, and people would be like, what? So they'd eat off the table, and then afterwards he'd have his servants come out, and they would throw the entire tablecloth into the fire, and everybody would watch it, and they'd put it back out on, and it would be completely clean. It was part of his like a way of impressing dinner guests at his castle.
Interesting.
So big misinformation because they didn't realize that the particles that you breathe in from the asbestos plant are carcinogenic and latch into your lungs and cause a mesothelioma. So
That's an A+.
pretty random, right?
yeah,
People
I
they
like
thought
that
it was
one.
the most amazing garment. It was used all the way up until about the 1950s when people started developing health problems. It used to be the asbestos in your attic to help because it repels heat, which was the big thing. You could keep your house cool, and it would repel the heat from outside.
Somebody came to this podcast refreshed and prepared. Can we get the Denny's chant going? Denny's, Denny's,
All right.
Denny's, Denny's. Nailing it, baby.
I don't do it for the cheers.
He is not like Lady Gaga. He does not do it for the applause.
No, not for the applause. This one I figured would hit Bird, and you might even actually remember this. This was a promotion. This just shows that no matter how big a company is or how many executives you have, you can still make bad choices. The restaurant chain, and nothing that we love the chain. The restaurant chain Red Lobster.
Denny's, you're gonna get me sued. No,
They once lost $3 million during a promotional campaign that their executives came up called the Endless Crab Promotion. In the meeting, they underestimated how much crab people will eat, and it ended up costing them that calendar year $3 million in losses.
No shit. They lost that. That was the end year. Oh.
They did it 1 year, and they were like, "Nope, no more." They underestimated that people would go there and just eat nonstop crab.
I mean, clearly, I'm a Red Lobster head over here. That's an A+ for me.
I did that one for you. I figured
That's
you
why
would
they
know.
switched to endless shrimp instead,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, Beckett, have you ever had a Red Lobster biscuit?
No.
Get out of my house, right? Get out.
They're like sea spiders. Like you're eating.
crabs?
You're eating crustaceans.
No.
Yeah, they say
We're not
that.
talking about
Biscuits, the
we're not
biscuits.
talking about the crab. We're talking about Red Lobster cheddar biscuits. Have you ever had that?
Is there no fish in there?
Get out of my house.
I haven't had it.
Get out.
I just have no reason to go to Red Lobster.
All right. Well, you do now, just for the biscuits alone.
Really?
I almost called you Denny's. Yes. Yes. Hey, audience, have you had Red Lobster? Yes. Can we get an amen?
I think you can get them at the store now.
Ariel?
Yeah, it's in a box, yeah.
What? You don't like biscuits? You and Beckett get the hot.
I say we have the next meeting at Red Lobster.
I'm so down. It's
I
right down
feel
the
like
street.
Red Lobster smells like seafood.
Okay,
You know
well,
what I mean?
it
It's got that
does.
like fishy.
Because
Seafood
that
restaurant.
It does
fishy-
have seafood.
Can,
Beckett.
can we bring takeout to the podcast that we don't have to smell the seafood?
No, we're going.
Oh.
We're going to Red Lobster, and you're gonna have to look at those lobsters getting taken out of that sad tank.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst.
It is so sad. And if you don't think lobsters know what's going on,
100%.
there's a video of a lobster screaming
Yeah.
and biting off its claw to get away from the pot
Yeah.
because it knows it's about to get murdered.
Sweden outlawed that actually. Sweden.
Ariel looks horrified. But
Yeah.
check out that video.
Yeah, that's the
No,
cruel
no
reality
way.
of
The lobster,
lobsters.
yeah, all these people go, lobsters don't know. No, lobsters know they're about to get
Oh, they
fucking
get thrown
boiled.
in boiling water.
Yeah.
It bit off its claw.
Yeah,
Get the hell away from the pot.
we're horrible. We're horrible.
We're a horrible species.
We're a horrible species. We are horrible. Sweden outlawed that. Like they actually have to kill the lobster. They can't.
Yeah,
They can't do it.
I remember when I found that out. I was like, "Damn, really?"
It's
You
horrible.
brought up Sweden a lot today. What's your angle, Beckett? What's your agenda?
No, it
He
didn't.
just got back
My buddy
from
got
there.
engaged to a girl from Sweden. Pretty girls.
Congratulations. I'm sure that's going to be a real cheap wedding.
Yeah.
It's going to be very
So this isn't a random fact. This is a random thing I found that I thought was
Denny's,
cool, and I'll throw it at you.
Know your place.
The last one, I just want to throw it at you because I just found this. I couldn't believe it's real, and I looked into it. It is. There's a 3,100-mile ultra marathon that takes place in a single Queens, New York City block. Runners have 52 days to run around a route of 5,649 times around the block. A lot of them experience out-of-body hallucinations, and only 43 people have ever completed it.
Because they've pushed themselves so much.
To the point.
They just start seeing shit.
Well, there's actually groups that go intentionally to naturally trip. They go intentionally to, I guess, run their body out of.
when acid just can't get it
Yeah,
done.
when you've done everything else, you like.
I just have to run it out.
You've
I gotta
experienced it
see
all.
some shit.
I was wondering what you guys' thoughts were on that. Would
Nah,
you
it's interesting.
ever do that marathon?
Yes.
Ayahuasca Beckett over here, of course.
I forgot.
I rode my bike across the country.
No one's shocked.
Yeah.
Did you from where to where?
St. Augustine to San Diego. Actually, it was about 3,100 miles. We did 85 miles a day.
Vicky, what are your thoughts? I feel like you're judging Beckett.
How many miles? Was
I feel like you're judging Beckett only because he's so much better than us.
I don't even go to a marathon gas station. Okay, so
Vicky,
yeah, go. Do I have to sit next to him?
I love it. I love it. Are we good with the audio?
Yes.
Okay, so to go back with that Bigfoot story that we kind of let off with the story, just to set it up, there was a campsite. All of a sudden, this couple is in a tent and they hear all these shots, bang, 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 and this guy comes out. I just saw a Bigfoot. He's attacking me, or it's attacking me, or she's attacking me. You're going to be hearing from the campers who saw the guy shoot.
Is this the
They
recording?
were just like shining their flashlights on our tent. They say that their campsite had been completely destroyed, that they were following the yelling whoops to figure out like who destroyed their campsite. Started hearing some of those whoops again, and they were also in the same direction that he went.
It was just like, oh my God, there it is. I was like, I see it, and all I see is the gunshot flashes.
He says that he saw Bigfoot emerge from the brush near our tent.
There was absolutely nothing there, though. We shined our flashlights, and yeah, there was nothing.
So she doesn't believe him.
Of course, the Bigfoot story ends with a wah, wah,
Yeah.
wah. There's never been a great Bigfoot. There's that one fucking Bigfoot story that's good.
No, and that
Not
one was
one.
that was a perfect storm for somebody to be faking it because
Big
it was
time.
a campsite.
Well,
I
and
mean,
he's got the biggest naysayer right next to him during the interview. He's like,
Oh.
he's like, babe, I got this.
Definitely. So there's your Bigfoot news. A bunch of nothing. But I got a report on it. Everybody said that to me. I appreciate that. If you guys ever see any kind of Bigfoot stuff, alien stuff, please send it to our Weird Whatever podcast. Denny's, what's that information?
Well, so you can send it to mail@kvjshow.com. That way we can get everything, and that'll go Bird and I.
You could also send it to my Instagram. That would be JasonKVJ. That's our Weird and Whatever Instagram.
Or the Facebook page for KVJ as well.
You wanna-
slide it in the DMs?
Do you also want to like maybe throw out 3 more things to confuse our listeners? I don't think we have enough shit to confuse.
Any
our
of those you caught, just write it down.
please write it down. We have talked about cold case files here on the podcast, something I'm very passionate about. I think you guys are passionate about it too. South Florida cold case files. We do want to highlight a new case. It is on our Facebook page. So what we've got here is a case of Cynthia Moffitt. I'm going to go ahead and play the clip. There's a sheriff officer who kind of breaks it all down, giving the facts. We're talking about 13 years ago. Still, her murderers have not been brought to justice. Denny's.
I think it's playing. I think it's just quiet in the beginning.
It's not connected. All right. Well, so we'll go ahead and edit out this beautiful transition.
Yeah, weird.
Can you play it in front of the? Can you take it out and play it on the microphone then?
That's weird. I don't know why we're having such bad audio issues.
I do because I have a curse on me. No, I really do. I have a hex on me right now.
Can we do a seance with Vicky to get it off?
We are going to be talking with Vicky after. There's a lot of shit going on in my new place. I know that we're always talking about that kind of stuff, but for whatever reason, I'm having the worst dreams of my entire life that I've ever had. I woke up the other night to the worst night terror ever, kicking my wall because in my dream, somebody was attacking me with a knife and trying to kill me, and I woke up kicking my wall. I have not had one peaceful night of sleep here. It is so fucking bad right now. So if you don't mind, Vicky, I would love to do a walkthrough.
Okay.
Something seems off. I obviously not every place I go to is haunted. There's no way. I don't think it works that way. I'm bringing shit with me, without a doubt.
not necessarily that you're bringing the same things with you, but because like we've talked before, that I do believe that you have ability. So whatever is any location where you go to, they're going to say, okay, this person can maybe hear us, see us, interact with us. So they're going to come out of the woodwork, so to speak.
Would you say that I could be having some weird shit, dark shit going on right here? 2019 has not been a great year for me.
Right.
It's just not been very good. And as much as positivity I've tried to produce, you know, as we all, being a person and being a human, it can be tough. And I just feel like emotionally I've been beaten down the last 3 or 4 months. Is that going to make me or anybody listening that is going through something like that more likely to have bullshit happen?
Yes,
Especially
absolutely.
stuff that you're, you know, I usually like this kind of stuff. I have not liked what's been going on in this place at all.
And well, there's an expression that I heard when I first started as a paranormal investigator. There's no such thing as a happily haunted home. You don't have hauntings in a home that doesn't have some type of unhappiness or dysfunction. So you kind of have to have that element in order for the spirits to feed off of, because they feed off of more negative energy than they do positive, especially if it's a negative entity itself.
Someone wants to know, what if I'm attracting the spirit of serial killers? No, I'm not attracting the spirit of serial killers. I think would I have to?
No, but I could see you attracting the spirits of victims.
That's horrifying. Yeah. So are you trying to make me not go to bed again tonight?
No.
Cool. I've got victims hanging out. Sweet.
Well, I'd rather be haunted by a victim than the serial killer.
I hear you. I guess. I don't know. It's all pretty creepy. So I do want to make sure that we do this segment respectful for Cynthia Moffett. Again, she lost her life 13 years ago to somebody who stole rolls of coins. Now, do you think we have that clip?
Yeah, I can't get any of the audio to work.
Cool. That's not good. If you guys can, please go to our Facebook page. Please check out what we have going on with the Cynthia Moffett case. Basically, what had happened was she was working on a golf course in Lake Worth. Somebody broke in as she was closing up at around 4 p.m., and they shot her several times in the chest, I believe.
Jeez.
Yeah, and what really sucks about this case is as soon as the suspect or suspects fled, it poured and it washed away every kind of piece of evidence you could want. I mean, the DNA, anything you could want. So it's one of those cases that definitely 13 years ago it happened, and the family keeps on putting the case out because obviously if it was your loved one, you'd want this case out always. Please, if you get a chance, go to our Facebook page, share the link, get involved. Somebody here, I feel it in my heart with a lot of these kind of cases. Somebody knows something. They
Does
do.
it say which golf course?
It does, and I'm so upset that I don't have any of that information right here. It was all in the clip. Let me just, I just don't have it.
Yeah, we can post it.
It's already posted, so
Okay, awesome.
I apologize for the horrific technical problems we're having here. It really is a bummer. I'm going to go ahead and, I just don't have unfortunately, I don't have that. But yeah, go ahead and Google that.
Okay.
Vicky, any ghost stories you have? Anything new with your psychic abilities? Any new cases? Or have you been so bogged down with the personal stuff?
Yeah, just with the move, I did do a cleansing last week in Miami, so I'm hoping that's successful. And I am back and running because I've also put all my readings and stuff to the side. So I am going to offer my 10 for 10 right now to get back into the groove. So the first 10 people who want to email me at contact@pointparanormal.com will get a free 10-minute reading.
That's awesome. I really want to pick that up. Let's actually try to, I know we've talked about it a lot in the podcast. We need to go out and do an appearance and meet the people. I'm so sick of not doing something. So when we end this podcast today, we are not leaving here until we have an announcement to make for all of us to do a meet and greet with the people. We have passionate people who listen to this podcast. We were at Due South last night. Today's the date of August 3rd. So on August 2nd, we did Kevin's Beer. We had so many weird whatever supporters out there. So we thank you guys. There's so much more stuff I want to do for the podcast today. Clearly, we're not going to get to that because of the technical issues. We're going to end it with our Would You Rather. So would you rather go to bed with a different dead body every single night, or have loud, explosive diarrhea every time you talk to somebody you're attracted to? Beckett, I want to go and throw that at you. Because I feel like you're
I think a different dead body. Yeah, because at least it's new. You know, you're not going to sleep. The same dead body gets stinky.
So you have to literally go to bed every single night with a dead body in your it could be of all kind of spectrums. You never know what you're going to get. It's dead bodies come in, and then it's like a random shuffle thing. Boom, dead body in your bed. You pick that.
Yeah, because I think the alternative would hurt my sex life, and I don't.
It would.
Yeah.
It would absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
Vicky?
I'd
Dead
go
body.
Yeah.
Really? You go dead body?
Yeah.
I hate body functions.
Could
so
you
I'll go with the dead body.
Could you do that? Would that fuck with your head? Sleeping
No.
with a dead body every
No,
night?
I'm good.
Beckett, you could recover from that?
Yeah, it's like a cuddle buddy.
Bullshit.
It's a cuddle
You are
buddy.
so soft, you could not recover. Denny's.
I do dead body.
Wow. Yeah. I guess the embarrassment and the regular life is too great.
Yeah.
You couldn't get a job.
Yeah.
You couldn't have you couldn't have a significant other. You're right.
Yeah, you just compartmentalize that at home.
But there's no way you're not fucked up if you're sleeping with a dead body, a different dead body every single night. You're not normal, and you are broken down. Yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Always be super thirsty to the point where you can't swallow. You're always so dehydrated, no matter how much you drink. The worst case scenario of that, or would you rather always be so nauseous?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I'm going thirsty, and
I'm
it's
going-
gonna be awful.
Always thirsty.
Being
I'm going-
nauseous is rough, man.
I'm
Ugh.
going thirsty.
Thirsty.
But it's the worst case, to where you're so thirsty you're posting on Instagram.
Yeah. I've had cotton mouth before.
No, you haven't. Not like. So it gets so bad that you start getting sores in the back of your throat, and that also goes to your lips.
You're always adding stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we do here. So you still going?
Still going.
All right, Denny's.
Thirsty.
All right.
all
Would
day.
you rather have your dead body be discovered lying on a pile of sex toys with the most explicit porn going off in the background, where it's people are going to talk, it's all going to be publicized, or have somebody tell you that you are constantly being told you are terrible at your career and your passions, and everybody believes that?
Dead body. I'd rather die on. Sounds like a good way to go.
I'm fine with that.
Oh, you know what? I completely read that wrong.
Oh,
no,
okay.
take that. I read no.
Change it.
We'll edit
For
that
like
out. Yeah.
self-asphyxiation.
No, laying on the sex toys. Yeah, I was wondering that was too easy. Yeah. Or you end up being discovered. You are on the toilet and there's shit everywhere. So you're on the toilet. It's explosive diarrhea. That's how you're discovered on the porn and the dildos, or the explosive diarrhea.
Porn and dildos.
That's what you go with.
Yeah.
Yep, porn.
Yeah, you don't like bodily function.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the dildos. What about you?
I think I go dildos. Yeah, I do. Okay, and then last one. Would you rather have sex in a busy, smelly gas station bathroom where everybody can see what you're doing and you can hear what everyone's doing, or everyone in your family can see you have sex? They're watching you.
Gas station.
There's a potential of it being videoed.
Gas station.
Gas station.
Ah, jeez, that one's right.
Family.
Yeah, probably.
Family.
I'd be like, sorry, guys.
I'm close to my family. I can at least talk to them after and go, guys,
I wish it
I
wasn't
had
like
to do
this.
what I had to do.
Yeah, but I have kids, so that's what threw the family thing. for
I
me.
get it. No, I love it. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and plug some stuff. You guys have anything to plug before we end this podcast?
Coming up in a couple weeks, I do have an interview on another podcast.
Wow.
So this will be my
Someone's cheating.
second.
cheating.
No, it's an interview, not the interviewee. But I'll have the details for that next week. And I also want, because I know that a lot of our listeners and people who tune in, they remember our guest, Tim Yancey. And I just wanted to do a shout out for him. He's had some major medical issues. So everybody who listens to the podcast, who knows Tim, who remembers him on our show, send all the positive energy and prayers that you can. We want him well.
We love that guy. That guy's
Yep.
great. We would definitely call him a friend of the podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Vic. It's very nice. Denny's, anything to add?
Yeah, sorry for all the technical issues. I'm going to look at everything today, see what the heck's going on, get it all squared away.
Okay. Thank you, Denny's. All right. Beckett, are you going to Italy or Guam or?
Nah, going to New York City in a couple weeks, but yeah.
The Big Apple.
The Big Apple.
And guarantee you're going to go on the top of the Empire State Building. There'll be champagne there.
Hit the Hamptons.
Yeah, I knew it.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the Weird One Hour podcast. Please join the Weird Movement. Sign up on social media. We love you all, and Bigfoot,
Bigfoot is
real.
real.